Hi everyone, this is Gail. Welcome to my channel tonight. Hey, we've already got Living Positively After Challenges in, so it's good to see you. It's good to see everyone. Last week I bruised my ribs, so we're going to talk about that fall. And hey, we've got MH&E Railroad. Hey, so I'm not really sure how long I'm going to live stream tonight, but I've been getting a lot of questions and I wanted to answer those from there. I thought everybody knew that I had foot drop, but I'm not sure that everybody does. And I think that's a good thing and a bad thing. Um, and the reason I say that is because that means that you all perceive me to be walking and doing everything like everybody else can, walking well, which is awesome. But on the other hand, it makes streams like this a little bit difficult just because I have to kind of reorient you to fit the rock. Yeah, that's not something you need to be embarrassed about, Lori, at all. So just don't be embarrassed. Has he really? I haven't heard a thing about that. So anyway, we'll talk about that. So first, I'm okay pretty much since the fall. I'll just kind of go back up and just kind of start from the top and work my way through. Yes, I have foot drop, and I'll get more into that. No, Pipsie was not in his harness. Even service dogs get a break. So let me pull up his harness. So here's a picture of Pipsie in his harness. And it has got this nice handle on it. As you all can see, it says service dog. And I can hold on to that when I'm walking. And it helps me walk much more securely. And if I start to stumble, he'll kind of lean into me. But he helps me balance and helps me walk better. But he also helps in other ways. And when I fell, we had been out for our evening walk, just our stroll, enjoying the day. It was nice and sunny, and I was like everybody else. I'm trying to get my steps in, right? So we're all doing that. Oh gosh, that's amazing. That's amazing. I'm glad you got that. So we're out taking our stroll and get back home, and boom, sure enough, I fell just right there at the end of the driveway. So thank you, Peter. Thank you. And I'm still excited about your news with your relationship. I think that's awesome. So anyway, I'm walking. I get to the house, and I don't know if I stepped on a rock maybe, and kind of the foot went over, and I didn't realize that, which is where the foot drop comes in. So I'll tell you about that. Or if I just hit the curb and I went over. But hold on, gotta breathe. Okay, so I landed on the curb and it hit my right side, but I had my arm, I caught myself on my arm. And so Pipsie, bless his heart, he did absolutely everything he has been trained to do. I think he used all of his skills within like the whole 24 hours of this mess. So we are, when I started to fall, okay, Pipsie dived in underneath me and underneath my shoulders. And he does that to keep my head from hitting the ground, so to prevent head injuries. Well, this time I didn't need that because I caught myself, but I still landed on the ground. So I got a couple of puppy kisses from Pipsie while I was trying to get myself turned around and stuff. But the real challenge was, my immediate thought was, oh my God, I'm in the road. And fortunately, there was not a car coming by, so I was able to kind of scoot off and get on the road, because I landed half in the road and half in our driveway. So I was able to maneuver and get on the road. I mean, on the yard. But Pipsie was standing there, and he's like expecting me to balance and brace on him. that he didn't have his harness because this was supposed to be downtime. And downtime means he's not in his harness, he's not officially working, and we're just out enjoying everything. So I said a few bad words, so it was good that I wasn't, live streaming or within earshot of young children. And, instantly it's like, bam. You know how it is when you fall, you start hurting just right after that, because with me, my adrenaline kicks in. And so you kind of get that bam, that instant surge of, I don't know is it flight or fight that clicks in? I'm not really sure what you want to call it. So anyway, I get this surge of adrenaline, and which is what I use to scoot up on into the yard. So I call my husband, and thank God he was home, because I couldn't, my leg did not want to cooperate. So I was having trouble getting where I could actually get up and like sit up and then stand up. Well, I was able to sit up. So Pipsie, when he saw that I wasn't going to brace on him, which is because he didn't have his harness, he stood there and he was trying to figure out what to do. And I'm getting in, like a sitting position. Then when I got into a sitting position, he came and got on my lap, and he did what some people would call DPT, and that is deep pressure therapy. And that's where he lays across your lap and kind of helps ground you, especially if you have panic attacks. That deep pressure therapy helps with that. So it was also, it's your service dog's way of saying that I'm not leaving you. I'm right here and I'm not going anywhere. So I call my husband and I'm like, can you come down to the end of the driveway and pick me up? Because I'm like trying to be real calm. And he's like, sure, where do you want to go? And I'm like, no, literally, like I fell and I need help getting up. And he's like, oh gosh. So he comes, and I just went ahead. I told Pipsie, I said, get Dad. So Pipsie met him in the driveway and brought him down to where I was. And John helped me get up. But I was having some trouble because I was starting to hurt by this point in time. And I thought, wow, I just tumbled. Yeah, it's going to hurt. So I try not to think anything about that. But it obviously kept up. So I went to the emergency department the next day, and they were great. And Pipsie, he got back in his mobility harness, and he gets to work. So he's really happy. And so what happens next is we get to the emergency department, and they have to do all these tests. And he's great. He went into x-ray, and they're like, will he be okay in here? Because, sometimes they get like fake service dogs and undertrained service dogs. And I'm like, yeah, my service dog will be fine. If you're okay, he'll just lay down in the floor back here. And they were like, that's great. So he did what he was supposed to, lay down in the floor. He stayed right with me the whole time, right up against my legs, just being just super dog. But I didn't eat breakfast, and I was hurting too much and a little tense, so I kind of skipped breakfast. So we go, and I get my x-rays done, and he starts giving me that in-your-face fixed stare that he does. And I thought, oh, no, my blood sugar is dropping. And sure enough, went from the fixed stare to the pawing and then bumping me. So I had to send John over to the cafeteria to get something to eat and drink so I could bring it up, because I was stupidly didn't have breakfast that morning. So long story short is I do not have cracked ribs, so no cracked ribs, but my ribs are definitely bruised. And You may notice I'm a little out of breath today, and that's because I have a little bit, just a really super mild collapsed lung deal going on. So for that, I have to take deep breaths, and I have to take them like hourly, or just whenever I think about it, which is helping with the lungs. And I already have like inhalers and stuff that I can use. So yeah. So that's how I bruised my ribs. Was the fall. That's how it went with Service Dog Pipsie. And he is so proud of himself, or was so proud of himself for going to getting dad because his little tail wouldn't stop wagging. And it's just, he did everything you want your service dog to do. Now, he is trained to do all of this. But in the moment, service dogs are like people. They have to think, okay, what am I supposed to do? So you always kind of wonder if that training is going to kick in. And it did. And absolutely, he's perfect. Yeah, I've had enough of breathing issues. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you don't have to, but thank you. I deeply appreciate that. Um, so thank you. And I don't even have my YouTube portion of this in. So let me pull that up, by the way, you all. So I'm just staring at it from the StreamYard. So there we go. So, okay. So how I fell, I'm not really sure if my foot hit a rock and kind of wobbled, or if I just hit the curb and tipped over. Foot drop is with me. There's different reasons that foot drop happens. And thank you, MS and EARR, MH and SERR. Sorry, that'd be awful. And yeah, Lori, they did and do hurt pretty bad. So what they're saying is full healing in 6 to 8 weeks, probably a little closer to 8. So we'll see how that goes. I'm aiming for closer to 4. So I'm restricted on like lifting and things like that. So fingers crossed, this will all be okay. But I fall because of foot drop, which happens for lots and lots of different reasons. And Lori, you can dive in and tell me about yours if you want to, so everybody can understand that too. With me, I had already had a back problem. I was diagnosed with a bulging disc or a slip disc, depending on how you want to call it. And this was years ago, okay? But I had to do physical therapy and failed that and everything before the insurance would cover any kind of surgery. So this is Christmas. Why does everything happen around Christmas season? I don't know. But with me, it just does. So I didn't want to finally get in to see the doctor. It's like late November. And I didn't want to schedule surgery for Christmas. So we scheduled it for January, which really aligned better with his schedule because he only had like a couple of openings. It was like literally days before Christmas. And I just, that wasn't going to work. But on New Year's Eve, I started having, a couple of days before that, I started having major bad, super bad, horrible to the nth degree back pain. Have y'all ever had a problem with your nerve where maybe you moved the wrong way and you just had that fire feeling where you just had that nerve pain and it's literally like for a couple of seconds your leg or arm or whatever is completely on fire? That's what was going on with my back, except in a bunch of different places. So I called the doctor. They phoned medicine in. But that next day, I stumbled a little bit. And I thought, well, Gail, trip over your own feet, why don't you? And that was late at night on Saturday night. By the next evening, I couldn't. My foot just, it was kind of like hanging there, and I was having to like pick the whole leg up and then flop the foot down to be able to take a step. And right away, it's like, okay, something's really wrong here. So I had emergency surgery the next day to try to regain functioning of my leg. And I left the hospital actually on a walker, and had to, go from the walker to the cane, and kind of step down from that, use the wheelchair some, things like that. So with physical therapy for foot drop, I got a lot better, and time also really helped. Couldn't drive, could not, absolutely. They were like, no driving. So that was a pretty rough several months. But what happened is my foot had to relearn how to make the step. And I don't really want to call it having to learn to re-walk. Some people do, but I think that takes away from like people who have had like quadriplegia or so forth and really have had to fully relearn to walk. With me, it was just all about my foot and ankle, relearning how to make that step. But as a result of having foot drop, I have a big spot on the bottom of my foot that I can't feel the ground. So steps and uneven ground is a problem. So I fell a couple of times, went into the physical therapist, and they're like, look, we need to put you in an AFO, which is a leg brace for foot drop. And I forget what AFO stands for. Y'all can Bing that or Google it, whichever search engine you use. But my leg brace for foot drop, this is what it is. And it fits into my shoe. And let me see if I can get it out. No, it's not coming out. But it's just this contraption that I have to wear. This one is custom, so it fits my foot and ankle better. So I have an ankle support piece, and then this piece of Velcro, which comes across my ankle, and then this one goes across the top, and it wraps around and fastens. Thank goodness for Velcro, right? Because if it wasn't Velcro, this would all be metal. But as a result, this slips down into my shoe. So I have, with foot drop with me, I have this brace that's in my shoe. I already have a problem that I can't feel. So I have, let me demonstrate it. So I have my foot that I can't feel, and I've got this spot right here on my foot, which is kind of dead. Not as bad as it was, but much better. And so I have that, and I have a hard time feeling. And then I have my leg brace under that for foot drop, the AFO. And then I have my shoe. So when I'm walking, all of this is what I'm feeling through when I walk. So there could easily have been a rock there and my foot hit it and me never know it until I tip forward. Also, with my shoe and the way everything is with, breathing. So with my shoe and the way everything is, I can hit a curb or a step, but I'm delayed on feeling it. So I can also go over just because of that. So that's really one of those two reasons is how I fell, and that's what's going on. So I want to go over here, living positively after challenges, and I know I'm going to explain how that fits into travel in just a second. Living Positively says, I had a problem with anesthesia in 1990 and was left with hemiparesis, it's a mild brain injury, and foot drop. I would trip over my foot and couldn't figure out why. The end of my right foot, I don't feel. And Living Positively wore a leg brace too. Okay. So yours came from brain out, which is different than how mine started. But it can also start because of MS and lots of other different reasons. So that gives you a good contrast between Lori and myself as far as how these things happen. So I look at life I feel like you can look at life one of two ways when bad things happen. One is you can look for the good things and accept what happened, keep looking for the good, and focus on the positive. Or you can get upset, get down in the dumps, and stay there, and look at the world as though it is a bad place where bad things happen specifically to you, and you go through that kind of depression. And I think for a lot of people, I think it's really natural to kind of go through some of both. So with me, I try my best to stay on the positive. So for Saturday, for when I fell and bruised my ribs, I was home basically. Well, almost. I was down in the driveway by the street, but this didn't happen like 4 blocks over. I was there. I was home. My husband, he was actually home. There wasn't a car that came by while I was in the road, and I didn't fall in front of a car, which is a BFD, obviously. And I was able to get on up into the yard and off of the street, which was good. I had Pipsie, who was there, and he was able to go up the driveway a little bit to get my husband, to bring him back down. So good things are, I didn't fall in front of a car. I was at home. I was not out somewhere. My husband, my service dog, and, I was able to get up. Now, when my husband was down there, he was helping me get up. There was a car that went by, and they stopped to see if we needed help, which I thought was really, really nice. By that time, I was in the middle of getting up, so it was okay. But the other positive thing is I didn't break anything. I don't have a broken arm. I didn't hit my head, so I don't have a head injury. So I can either look at it like that, or I can be really upset, and I can let having bruised ribs stop me from what I want to do. And certainly, there's an impact here, okay? It is factoring in some. But I was able to go out a couple of days this week, like to the pharmacy and the grocery store. Not easy trips, but I was like, I am not going to let this keep me home. The other thing is I had to go back to the doctor. And the other blessing in this, they're like, okay, you need to follow up with your doctor in 7 days. Usually they say, okay, you can follow up with your doctor. But this time they were like, you need to follow up with your doctor within 7 days. I already had an appointment scheduled for a checkup on Wednesday. So that was perfect. And it's kind of hard to get into my doctor sometimes. So I was able to follow up with her. And we didn't have to spend all day in the emergency department. So I'm going to count that as a blessing too. And I was able to get out some. So by now, I'm doing a lot better than I was. And, when we went out, I am 2 hours from, just a touch over 2 hours rather, from my doctor. So that's a little bit of a challenge when you have bruised ribs. So what happened was we took the van, and I was able to lay down in the van on the bed when I needed to, and we just did it that way. So, yeah, so bad thing, but lots of blessings. So I'm going to still try to do some traveling and get out, hopefully like next week. So we'll see about that. Because, we're on this channel. We're all about being bodacious, which means what? We're not going to let life get in the way of living. So I'm going to try not to let that happen. So, before all of this happened, and this was my birthday weekend. So my husband, being my husband, he was like, "You," oh, he was like, "I'm going to take you out on a date." And he said, "I know where I'm going to take you. You're going to love it. We're going for breakfast. And so I'm going to take you out on a date." And this was before I fell. So I was all excited. Guess where we went? The Waffle House. Yes, my husband took me on a date and went to the Waffle House. So I have a video coming out on that. I want you all to see the video when it comes out, because my husband and I have a wager on this. I thought, and by the time I actually got out to get going, it was actually more closer to lunch. So I asked him if we were going to go to lunch instead, and he's like, "Yeah, you can get lunch." Should have clued me in that I could get lunch and not we're going to lunch. So anyway, I'm thinking, okay, now it's lunchtime. Maybe we're going to like Texas Roadhouse or something like that for lunch. No, Waffle House. Lori's saying, "That's so sweet of John. I love the Waffle House. They do a great job for breakfast." But I wasn't thinking Waffle House. So we have a wager going on this video. And that is, if you all think I'm doing this, is it bodacious or is it a bust? So if you all think that was bodacious, that's great. I owe John another breakfast at Waffle House. If you think it's a bust, he owes me lunch someplace other than Waffle House, like Texas Roadhouse or Outback or somewhere. It'll probably be Outback because they do the AARP discount and we like discounts. So whichever one it is, when the video airs, I want you all to let me know your thoughts on that. Oh, bodacious. Lori's going bodacious. Okay. Well, you can let me know when it comes out. And I'm going to actually hop off this live stream in a couple of minutes because I think I need to. Actually, more for I hear my husband cursing over dinner. So I'm probably going to have to go rescue that from him. But I also have really interesting, good, happy news to share amidst everything. And I was going to announce it last week, but of course we didn't have the live stream last week because of all of that stuff. But I have been able to enter one of my videos, my shorts, in what they call a Reelies. So over on Instagram, I have the clip of Pipsie, who is responding to me for blood sugar. Let me pull that up and share it in case y'all forgot. Here we go. So he is responding to my high blood sugar by tugging me all around the kitchen. And this is the same clip that the Florida Disability Alliance advocates, now I got to go back and look it up. This is the same clip they used in their little movie. I'll link that down below. So I was invited and able to submit this for a Reelie. which is kind of they're trying to make it like the Oscar of Instagram Reels. So we're going to see how this does. Cross your fingers for me. If we become a finalist, if this is picked for a finalist, then I'm going to need people to help me vote on it, because at that point it's going to be partially a popularity contest. But anyway, that's him telling me, "Hey, Mom, your sugar's up." So yeah, so I thought that was exciting news, and I wanted to make sure I shared that. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm really super excited. Um, there's also a red carpet event with this, which I probably am not going to do. I already had some things planned that I've committed with. We're going to go out and see the baby, and I'm not really sure I can afford to go to Atlanta and still go see the baby again. We're going to go out and see her the last of September, and this is in the middle of September. So I just don't know that I can do both. But who knows? I mean, things come up, but I'm so excited to be able to do that, and so excited to be able to share it. I mean, because like it's not anything I ever would have imagined happening. So yeah, I'm super excited. So everybody cross your fingers. So all right. Okay, you all. I'm gonna go rescue dinner. So fingers crossed on the Reelies. Hopefully it won't take all this long to recover from the bruised ribs, but that's kind of how it happened. So all right. So you all go have a great evening, and I will talk to you soon, and I'll be back on at 7:30 again Saturday. Oh, bless you, Lori. Thank you. You don't have to do that, but thank you. Oh, before I go, I want to plug over on Valerie Reese's channel. Valerie Reese, it's all about the adventure. Lori, I think you're scheduled for 3 o'clock tomorrow, right? I didn't want to leave without plugging that. I have my calendar set, but I also have a meeting at 2 o'clock. So I am going to try to get there, but I may be late. So I'm gonna link to that up in the community tab too. So yep, 3 o'clock tomorrow. Valerie Reese, all about the adventure. Don't forget. I hope so too. I probably will be late, but I've got my timer set, and I plan on being there because it's going to be exciting. Lori's going to be talking about her book, which is amazing, absolutely amazing. So, all right, you all, I'm coming. All right, thank you all. Have a great night. I'll see you Saturday at 7:30, and we will talk at you later. I hope you can too, Lori. I hope you can. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.